Hi, Danny Kruger with IoEnergy, and I want to share and amplify a message that came to me through LinkedIn, an article written by a friend of mine all the way back from our days at UCLA, where we lived and studied together, a guy named Kevin Brennan. And Kevin was a stalwart then, and he's a stalwart today, deeply involved in commercial real estate in San Francisco. And so Kevin wrote an article that I think you should read. And he's talking about the effect of the pandemic in commercial real estate in downtown San Francisco. And I think it's really a proxy for commercial real estate globally. And maybe you would say, not just commercial office, but anybody who has left the traditional workspace and we're wondering if they're ever going to come back. So Kevin is a professional in that space and has been for many years. And so a couple takeaways from Kevin's article. There's been a 385% increase in available sublease space in San Francisco since COVID-19 swept in. So it's really nice stuff that's available, and it can be had for a song right now. Non-renewal leases are up 65% in San Francisco, and there's something called negative net absorption. Negative net absorption is when you renew, but for a smaller footprint. And so that is making up much of the active lease activity. Kevin's crystal ball, and one of the points in his article, he says that, people are going to come back to work. And he cites something where he says, in his quote is, employees are suffering from fatigue, depression, and work-life imbalance, or they just don't have an appropriate remote working infrastructure. And most employers want their teams back into the office where collaboration, teamwork, and creativity can flourish. So at IoEnergy, that's a really meaningful bit of insight there. We feel that return to work safety can be a catalyst that property owners can use to get maybe an unfair proportion of that return to work market share. So while this hyper competitive market is kind of right sizing itself, there's a decrease in the amount of leased space that will take place in the next year. But to get an unfair amount of that pie, one would have to make investments in return to work safety. And we really feel that things like indoor air quality, using UVC light to scrub the air from pathogen, IoT building systems where sensors are making social distancing easy and practical and visible for employees and commercial office space occupants. And then finally, systems that mitigate the spread of virus, like temperature scanners and machine learning mask wearing devices at entrances to common areas like cafes and lobbies and meeting rooms. All of these systems will really require a minor investment from building owners, but it'll give them a maximum effect as a catalyst for marketing their properties. So final takeaway, yes, there is this upheaval. The entire commercial real estate market is going through this upheaval. But to get a unfair advantage, a competitive advantage, property owners just need to make a small investment in return to work safety. So those are my thoughts. Danny Kruger, CEO, IoEnergy, and I hope you have a very safe and productive day. Thank you.